Great to be here. Seems like it's been forever. I think it has been. It's been a long time. And sure, I'm glad to be back as we kick off the 2013 year. I wonder what kind of year this will be. Of course, everybody's wondering that. What's it going to be like economically? Are we going to see any real difference? Is it going to be pretty much the same? Fiscal Cliff, we got a deal, if you can call it a deal. But anyway, they're calling it a deal. I wouldn't. But it's a 2-month kick the can down the road for 2 months. Boy, we're sounding more and more like Europe every day when we talk about kicking the can down the road for 2 months. I'll explain a little bit why it's 2 months. Of course, I've got a little clip from the president last night. I'll play that just to give you an idea of what we're in for in the upcoming months. But anyway, we've got higher taxes almost across the board. You know how the Republicans desperately, talked about for so long this one-for-one cuts. If you remember back in the last deficit deal, and they talked about a one-for-one cut. Well, we got a $1 of cut for $41 of tax increases. How's that for a deal? That's a good deal. And we will, by the way, rehire the majority of the Congress people that passed this bill. We'll rehire most of them. Mark my words for it, 2012. I will go on record right now to say, or 2014, that the majority of those that backed this bill and voted this bill and, are framing it in such a way that they saved an economic catastrophe will get reelected. So let me go on record of that because that's what we do here in America. Oh, we whine and complain about some of the things they do, and then we reelect them. It's a beautiful thing if you're a politician. And we will likely do that, both the Republicans and the Democrats that voted for this will get reelected. I was thinking this morning, I was reminded this morning of Rick Perry. Remember old Rick Perry? All of you in Texas know who he is. And one of the things that he said, it was in one of the debates, I don't remember, but it was interesting because he got so much criticism about it. One of the things he said was, you know what, we're going to go back. If I'm president, we're just going to bring Congress in session for, I forget I really do forget what it was, but it was something like, once a year for 6 weeks or something. And let them go about their business having a real job doing something else. Of course, that was meant, well, that's fine for Texas, but that's not. But think about it. Do you really think they do more than 6 weeks worth of work? They just did 2 years worth of work in a week and a half. Why? Because they had to. Think about if they came in for a certain period of time, they would have to do work, right? They would have to do some work in a short period of time. It seems as though that's the only way they can operate. So Rick Perry's looking pretty smart right now, although I didn't think it was a bad idea to begin with. Manufacturing in China expanded its pace, so that's some good news for the economy moving forward. U.S. incomes. You've oftentimes heard me talk about the idea of prices going up and such. Our U.S. incomes are at some of the lowest points that it's been since long before 2007. That's still true, by the way, but U.S. incomes ticked up in November after moving sideways for much of 2012. The real median household income was up 1.6% from 2012 low. By the way, the 2012 low was $50,516. That was the median income of the average worker in America. It is now, according to the Census Bureau, the new study for November says it's up to $51,313 or $310. That's obviously slightly above a year ago, well below the pre-recession level of 54,000. So it's up. It's up. That's good. It's still down $3,000, give or take, per household since long before the recession. Unemployment, by the way, we have more people unemployed, but things are going well. The futures today are flying up. Dow futures, I think, are up close to 200 points, 212 points at one point. I don't know where they are right now, but I will say that all the markets are going to open on positive news as a result of the good news in averting the fiscal cliff, at least for a couple months. Timothy Geithner, we don't have to worry about a debt ceiling conversation right now because he's allowed us to increase our debt ceiling. We can keep going. We can keep spending for the next month or so because he's made some adjustments. Just in case you're a federal worker, the adjustment is basically he's robbing the TSA program. He's just going to write them an IOU. He's real good at that. Not he. I shouldn't say he. I'm blaming Timothy Geithner for what's been going on for 30 years. I don't want to do that. But we know the government is real good at writing IOUs because they've been putting IOUs. If we look at our Social Security trust, if that were a treasure chest kind of thing, if you opened it up, you would find intergovernmental notes, which are basically IOUs. Now we are okay because we're going to rob the TSA program. You know, that's all your retirement. It doesn't matter what you think that's your retirement money. No. You work for the government. It's their money, I guess, until you actually receive it. I know you worked hard for it, but they still count that as their money. So that's what they're doing the raising. Isn't it amazing that Timothy Geithner's okay raiding the TSA to keep us from going over this debt limit or to hit this wall where we have to shut down government by raiding the TSA program, yet the same government is requiring the Postal Service to put years in advance of the retirement money into the TSA program. They're the only quasi-government organization that has to put money in advance, and they wonder why they're in trouble. If any other government agency had to do that, let's say the Department of Labor or the EPA or the executive branch, whatever, they'd be in big trouble too, but it's okay. Now, isn't it nice that the Congress made the Postal Service do that for so many years because now they've got all this money they can raid. It's a wonderful thing. Well, we've got no conversation on the debt limit. Okay, that didn't come up. It's not part of this plan, folks. Just give me some kind of conversation that is a baseline for when we decide the economy in this country is better, that we can stop all the spending because they consider spending stimulus. When's that going to happen? No conversations on the debt ceiling. That's okay.